So before I forget, because this isn't something that I do too often, I wanted to lay out a segmented gore. So if you had two pipes intersecting each other, and this would get you the layout based on the angle that the two need to intersect. So I'm going to lay this out here, and you know, usually you lay it out with cardboard. I'm going to show you a couple different techniques. So what you want to do is, let's just arbitrarily use, because I only got so much space here, let's say we want it to be an 8-inch pipe. Okay, so gonna mark out. Okay, and then we're gonna pick a random angle. So let's just say here's our angle. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is go now. 8-inch pipe isn't 8 inches on the outside, so this is theoretical. This is 8-inch tube, 8-inch sheet metal, whatever. Okay, so I need to extend this up. Okay, so what you want to do first is this angle divided by 2. So you got to find your 2 intersection points. Okay, and we're going to draw this line. Okay, so essentially you want to cut each pipe equally at the same angle, and that is the angle. And we're not going to measure any angles or figure that out. Okay, so right here, here's another little trick. So if this is 8-inch pipe, 8-inch, so I'm just gonna mark the center. Okay. It doesn't need to be right there, and it's not very deep for what I'm doing. So what I usually do if I'm laying stuff out and it doesn't have to be super precise is I'll get a vice grip, combination square, and a center punch. Okay. And you don't want to be that, like, quite that high. Let's say right here. Okay. Now this isn't, okay. Usually I'd give a better center punch mark than that, but I don't want to damage this too much. Okay. Okay, so let's say that's our center. Now, what we need to do is I'm going to run a line right across here. And we're going to then divide our center into, we need multiple points here. So, actually, and I need a vertical line here. So I gotta extend this vertical line. Okay. So with our divider, or whatever you want to call this thing, set up for the radius, this will divide our circle into 12. And then I gotta go this. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have our divisions. Now we're gonna carry that through. Okay, so what we need to do here is the bottom of this angle, and you can draw this arc wherever you want. You could draw it out here if you wanted to. So the bottom of this angle to right there. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we know that the outside of this edge is this distance here. So now what we're gonna do is lay out the flat pattern. So what I need to do is with my divisions, so we have our one length here. And then that's okay. So these are this is what's important right here. To this to this, this to this, this to this, this to this. Okay, so now this is going to give our point measurements. Now we need to do 8 inches times pi is 3.14 is what's the magical number. So 8 inch tube or pipe circumference is 25 1/8. Okay, so we'll lay it out right here. Okay. And if you're doing this on corrugated cardboard, make sure your corrugations run this way, because if you run this way, it's going to be hard to wrap this. You know, your best is to find something flat. So I'm going to say 25 1/8. Okay, so what we're gonna do is these points, we're gonna divide 12 points up in here, okay? And 8 divided by 12 is 2 and over 16. But I'm gonna find the center. So 24 and usually what I always try to do is measure back and forth to find center. And it double checks that you're not like a ways off. So this is, let's say 12 1/2. So center's in between those 2 points. Okay, so here's our center point. And I need center between this. 12 1/2, so 6 1/4, let's say. Then from there, we're 2 and a. So I'm just gonna double check that. That's a little bit over. So again, if you want to do this really accurately, the best way to do this is with combination or with dividers and scribes and stuff like this. This is going to be the, the pipe's thick enough we can weld the gap together. So, but, and it's also what you have on hand. So the reason I don't just the reason I kind of divide into 4 there is because I don't, you don't get a cumulative error and you don't have a bunch of issues. Okay, so I'm just going to draw these lines here. Okay, so this, let's say wherever you want this, you ever want your splice to be, we're doing this so this splice is going to end up at the smallest point here. Okay, so what we're going to do is in the center point is going to be from here to here. So on 10 So it's 2 3/4. Okay. So 2 3/4. Okay. Now this is 0.1. Let's say this is 0.2. So this one is 2 1/2. Okay, so even though we laid out 6 points here, we're doing both sides of the pipe. So what I'm saying is, like, if you can perceive this, if here's our pipe in 3D, there's 12 points all around it. So this point is this point and this point. Okay, so it'll make a little bit more sense when we go through it some more. So this one here is 2 and let's say a 1/16. And even here too, you can use a divider. What I do is, if I had a set of dividers, I'd divide this and then swipe it over here. Okay, so right here is 1 3/8. Say 1/16. And this one here, let's say 3/16. Okay, and obviously that point is the last point. So now right here, okay, so now if this was on cardboard, you'd wrap this up and you wrap it around the pipe, and that'll give you the gore, the segmented gore, to cut that angle on both pipes. So that, now you can get way more accurate here, where you could divide this and get even more points and stuff. But like I said, this is the close enough. It's going to get you there, and you know, it's risk to reward. You know, if you really want to get that accurate, I think, you know, by the time you do that, you can kind of blend it out with a grinding disc. So, and just so we're 100% clear, if this is your line 1, from here to here is line 1. From here to here is line 2 and 3. So these are the measurements that we wanted. The reason we had to lay the circle over top of it is because if we we needed to know where these points are going to lay out on this circle, because we're looking at it in 2D and this is converting it into 3D from the distance from here to here. So this is the important part here. These lines. So usually it crests over the top and kind of sucks back here. So, I mean, if you want to get more technical and start really laying that stuff out, usually I'd cut this out of cardboard. Make sure to extend the bottom here, because when you wrap it around the cardboard, you don't want to just cut this little sliver. You want to cut, 6 inches down or something like that. And then, you can kind of, I'd go over that again and maybe smooth this little lump out or something. But when I cut that out with scissors or an X-Acto knife, that's when I'd kind of get that. But you can see the steeper the angle, like if this angle was more like this, the more you'd see this extreme from this height to this height.